Welcome to Roman Fiction. If you like what you watch, please like and subscribe. Now on to the story. Life on the farm had never offered Titus much beyond its routine labors. Born into simplicity, his days were measured by plowing fields, tending flocks, and the slow passing of seasons. He knew neither luxury nor true poverty. He had just enough to survive and nothing more. His parents had left him the modest land he now called his own, a quiet patch of Roman earth where olive trees stood like soldiers and the wheat swayed gently beneath the watchful gaze of the sun. Yet Titus was not a particularly ambitious man, nor did he seek wealth. He valued his privacy, his quiet meals of bread and olive oil beneath the shelter of the cypress trees, and his humble bed within his simple villa. However, even he had begun to feel the loneliness of his years. Youth was fading slowly, taking with it the restless vigor of a young man's heart. Nights seemed longer, and the stars appeared dimmer as he watched them alone, wondering if life had reserved anything special for him. It was on a summer afternoon that he first saw her. Titus had been gathering wood near a small stream at the edge of his property, where wild poppies grew thick and bright. When he looked up, he saw her standing quietly at the water's edge, as if waiting for someone. Her deep green eyes caught him completely off guard, and her hair, golden as the fields he tended, cascaded gently round her slender shoulders. Titus was not accustomed to the presence of beautiful women, especially those of noble birth, yet he felt compelled to approach her. He wiped sweat from his brow, feeling nervous and self-conscious as he stepped forward. He tried to speak, but words failed him until the woman smiled softly, coaxing his voice back from silence. Her beauty was unnerving, her gaze as penetrating as the noonday sun, but somehow comforting. She introduced herself as Juno, claiming she had lost her way and needed shelter from the heat. Honored and flustered, Titus immediately offered her the shade of his villa. Juno accepted gracefully, following him with quiet steps that hardly disturbed the dust beneath her feet. Having her in his home felt unreal, almost dreamlike, but he dared not question this unexpected fortune. Days passed, and Juno stayed, finding reasons to linger in the quiet company of the humble farmer each sunrise. Titus half expected her to vanish like morning mist, yet each day she remained, more lovely and captivating than the last. She seemed drawn to the simplicity of his life, laughing softly as he taught her how to milk his goats, picking olives with gentle fingers, and listening attentively as he explained the secrets of the soil. Their nights soon became even sweeter. Under the silver glow of the moon, in the warm, fragrant air that carried the scent of jasmine and rosemary, Juno would visit Titus in his bed. He never questioned why a woman of her elegance would desire a simple man like him. He only thanked the gods, unaware that it was indeed one of their own who lay beside him. For Juno was no ordinary woman. Beneath her mortal disguise dwelled the queen of the gods herself, Juno, bored with her celestial realm and tired of her husband's endless infidelities. She had come down to earth to escape her divine frustrations. Titus, innocent and kind-hearted, had no inkling of the truth. To him, Juno was simply the most precious gift fate had ever given him. But fate is never truly kind, and secrets never last long. High on Olympus, Jupiter's ever-watchful eyes eventually caught sight of his wife's betrayal. His fury was quick and merciless, an eruption of divine jealousy more terrifying than the thunderstorms he see. Unmanded, Juno was soon forced back to her heavenly throne, bitterly protesting her innocence and claiming Titus had deceived her. But Jupiter knew well the deceptions of his queen, and while his anger towards her was great, it was the mortal man who had unknowingly stolen his wife's affection that would bear the full weight of his wrath. Jupiter appeared before Titus in a raging storm, the sky darkening in unnatural hues and thunder rolling across the horizon. Titus fell to his knees, trembling, not knowing why the father of gods would appear before such an unremarkable man. "You have stolen from me that which was never yours to take," Jupiter bellowed. His voice like the cracking of mountains. Titus, bewildered and terrified, pleaded his innocence, insisting he knew nothing of this theft. He spoke of Juno with reverence, confessing his love but insisting he had never meant harm. Jupiter merely laughed, cruel and cold, and yielding as marble. "You shall pay dearly for your blindness." Jupiter roared. "Death would be too simple. No, you shall live, mortal, and you shall suffer in ways no man has ever suffered." With these words, Jupiter stretched forth his mighty hand, and Titus collapsed, racked with agony. From that moment on, his body was cursed. Pain spread throughout him like fire. His once strong limbs trembled, muscles spasming violently, and flesh burning as though touched by molten iron, yet leaving no visible mark. His heart hammered in a rhythm that echoed the turmoil of his feet. Days stretched into eternity for Titus. He tried to rise and tend to his fields, but his body betrayed him at every turn. Each movement was agony. Each breath felt like torture. Food tasted like ash, and water turned to vinegar on his tongue. Sleep eluded him as if chased away by the Furies themselves. He begged for death, but the gods turned a deaf ear to his pleas. The mental torment devised by Jupiter was even worse. Titus's mind remained painfully clear, acutely aware of every cruelty inflicted upon him. He understood the injustice and felt the weight of it. Yet he could not escape his suffering. Every night, vivid dreams haunted him. He saw visions of Juno, laughing cruelly, mocking his foolish heart. He imagined Jupiter watching him in amusement, his laughter echoing endlessly. Most painfully of all, he envisioned Juno, the beautiful woman he had loved, walking away into darkness, leaving him forever broken. Slowly, Titus's life began to erode. His friends abandoned him, unable to bear witness to his endless suffering and powerless to help. Villagers whispered that he had been cursed, that he had somehow angered the gods. His fields withered from neglect, his livestock perished, and his small villa crumbled. Alone and isolated, Titus found that his physical pain was now overshadowed by deep, relentless despair. He came to realize that Jupiter had taken more than his health. He had stripped him of his dignity, identity, and will to live. One afternoon, Titus crawled painfully beneath the shade of an olive tree, the very spot where he had first seen Juno. His body was frail, and his skin was pale as moonlight. He closed his eyes, tears streaming silently down his face, and whispered one final prayer, not for himself, but for forgiveness for daring to love someone so far above his station. He waited to die, but death cruelly refused to claim him. Years passed. The once youthful man aged prematurely, trapped in perpetual suffering, a living lesson from mortals on the dangers of unwittingly trespassing upon the divine. Yet, despite all the torment, deep inside Titus's heart, an ember of love still flickered, faintly recalling the sweetness of days spent with Juno. On quiet nights, when Jupiter turned his gaze elsewhere, Juno watched from her lofty perch, feeling pity for the mortal she had used as a pawn, secretly weeping for his unending punishment. The gods had taken much from Titus. They had robbed him of peace, health, and joy, but perhaps the cruelest punishment of all was that they allowed the memory of Juno to remain untouched, a constant, painful reminder of the happiness he had briefly held only to lose forever. Thank you for joining me on this journey through ancient Rome. If you enjoyed this story and crave more tales of intrigue, bravery, and adventure from the Roman Empire, click here for more Roman fiction. Until our next adventure, veil farewell.